Hello and welcome, you fine people. Thank you so much for tuning in. What we're going to be talking about today is a really good video that I've wanted to make for quite some time, but it's essentially to tell you what are the best decks and the best combination of decks in the current meta. Well, there's quite a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, my elo's taken a bit of a hit. He usually floats more towards the 2,500 mark. Right, should we start with the Russians or the Americans? Well, no worries, I'll just put timestamps below and you can see which side you're gonna want me to talk about more. But there's two decks that I'll give a special mention to and talk about, because there's a lot of very specific decks that I've got. As you can see, quite a lot to choose from, but these two that I've highlighted I think are just, without a shadow of doubt, the best all-rounders and the best sort of decks that you can't go wrong with. There's decks like, for example, this, which is really good, but it's very situational, it's very flanky. But what I'm going to be doing is telling you about all of these, their best uses, their strengths and weaknesses, and how, by the way, I've made individual videos for all of these decks, so if you want more detail about each individual line, the specific uses, and overall, tactics with the deck, then by all means, take your time and watch those videos as well. That's 4 like 30-40 minute videos for you to enjoy on top of that, so I'll put them in the link below. Right, the El Clasico. Moto Coastal has by far been honestly one of the traditional best decks in the game. Now, the reason this pairs up so well is essentially the Moto is great because you get the fantastic mobility. Now, the Coastal guys, they lack mobility. They're very painfully slow, and those who have played them with the mechanized know that that is the slowest combination and probably one of the worst combinations in the game. Maybe I should do a special video about worst combos. Anyway, what you get in this deck is, first and foremost, unbelievable support. Now, MLRS is painful. I hate how effective it is, but the truth of the matter is, it is super duper effective, paired with one of the best AA pieces in the game that quite happily one-shots quite a lot of things. So support tab is honestly super duper strong. The SR is the best, mark my words, the best shore ride in the game, especially for its price. So there's no doubt about that. Yeah, only gets 6 shots, but being able to one-shot helicopters, and not all shore rides do, is just bloody brilliant. Now, actually, I would argue that the Slammer is better because it's semi-active, whereas these are, correction, fire and forget, whereas these are semi-active. So there you go. But obviously having one-shot missiles is absolutely goated. Right, you have phenomenal infantry. You've got the SSO, so Russia's best actually the game's best standoff squad, and you've got the Chorny, which is one of the best CQB. Well, it's not exactly a CQB squad. I wouldn't go house to house with it, but close quarters, we're talking 100 meters or so, or to be honest, anything within the range of this bazooka. The best squad in the game. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. Actually, we should do some testing against Delta to see who wins at 400 meters. I'm pretty sure it's going to be these guys. Anyway, you've got very good infantry. Like, this is one of the best line infantries in the game for its price. No doubt about that in my head. SPG-9s, the gift that keeps on giving. For how much ammo they have and for the range that they fire it at, you just stick these bad boys in the back somewhere in a high building, and they're just going to keep giving. They're the gift that keeps on giving. They keep helping you chip away at everything. And if that means that you have to just chip away at APS, for example, with this heat shell, then that's absolutely fine. MGS, fantastic squad. But most importantly, you get these BTR 82s, which I've already mentioned and are just fantastic. You can also spam out some very dirt cheap line infantry if that's to your liking, but I prefer the Marskaya here. The recon itself, you've got the Diversante. That is, this squad will kill basically any other sniper squad that's got 3 stealth at close range. So 3 stealth, laser guidance, all very good. Kozliks, absolutely goated. See what I did there. This vehicle is fantastic for scouting as well. Spetsnaz GRU SSO combination is just fantastic as well with the Chorny. Obviously, I've got these in mixed loadout, but again, what the specific reason to is why you might want to watch that in a separate video. And the Morskaya Zvetka, one of the most underrated close combat infantry recon squads are these guys. Now, not only do they have 4 bazookas that are really good, but also the suppressed weapons on these guys are actually really effective. You might have known that the armor penetration has been increased from 5 to 7, making them much more effective. Cool. The weakest point of this tab is, without a shadow of a doubt, the armor. So the vehicles themselves, these are fine, especially again, the Taurus is great because the same reason as with the SPG-9, it's just for a bit of extra fire support, mainly against infantry at range. That is it. That is the only reason this is in the deck. It's dirt cheap, why not? You can also even use these, but they're just so painfully slow. Same thing, just for chipping away at far range. It's very cheap price, right? The T80 is the only thing you've got going for you. Not the best tank in the world at all. Very underwhelming penetration from its gun. The only saving grace is that its reload time is 6 to 7 seconds. Again, it's really not much to brag about. It is essentially the only bit of armor you can get, so that's what you're stuck with. Really not great. Moving on to the helicopters though, you've got the Seed Catrans. Painfully effective is the best way to describe them. They just work and they just do so well, especially at that range where Shore Ride has no time to react. Mi-28, perfect anti-air helicopter, really hard to beat it. Killer X Swarm is a thing of the past with these guys, especially now that they're one-shot kill. Dirt cheap, so 120 points for Iglas and Kokon missiles. That is insanely cheap. And for that gun, well actually the gun that you're after is the one on the Phantom, but I quite like this because obviously you can do more drive by sort of shooting with it. But this Phantom is also unstoppable, unreal. R60s, Kokons, there you go. It's a bit more pricey though as well, so there you go. And in the air tab, you get access because of the coastal, making it again phenomenal, is this Tu-22. It's 550 points for 8 humongous bombs that rip apart anything, and this gets shot down. Sure, it gets shot down quite a lot, but you can afterburn altitude, pop this up, and you are definitely going to get away with dropping all your 8 bombs. Bear in mind this cannot be one-shotted with anything, so you drop the bombs and it just obliterates the entire front line of the enemy, killing tanks as well if you can get that laser on them. So yeah, absolute great bit of kit, never go wrong with this. Trades up every time. You only get 2 of them in the game, sure, but make sure you deploy early so that you do get 2 of them in the game. Unscathed, out of ammo, destroyed. Yeah, it's going to be destroyed, let's be honest. Su-24s, now these are an absolute workhorse. They are my favourite workhorse in the game by far. Fairly reasonable price, but the clusters and firebombs are perfect for obviously destroying transports and tanks. And then obviously the firebombs can sweep up the infantry quite effectively too. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful plane. MiG-29 for the Seed. This is now by far the best Seed plane in the game. Now, okay, arguably the CJ is pretty good too, but the beauty of this is firstly rapid, so a lot cheaper than the Russian Seed. Not as cheap as this, but you get an extra missile and it's faster and more agile. So you'd be rude, you'd be absolutely silly not to take it, as well as 2 R-77s, which is pretty essential for Russia in shooting down the abundance of American drones that they have. So you can do a lot of stuff with this. Highly, highly recommend that you take one of these bad boys in the deck. MiG-29, just a great bargain bucket of a fighter. 6 R-77s, that's all you really need. For that price, I'd take this any day. You've also got access to this, which is fantastic. This is great for just HE bombing enemy soldiers, and the Su-25, which is actually fantastic with the Vickers. Feel free to use this instead of one of these as well. It is a great close support strike aircraft. So this is honestly why it's such a fantastic combination. So not only because of the abundance of support that you get, but all of the tabs are super strong apart from vehicles. Helicopter tab, I'd say, is actually not that strong, but you kind of don't really need it, and it's effective, especially for the price points, especially when we're talking about this bad boy for 120 points. It is super, super duper effective. So yeah, really can't fault this deck. I think this must be the deck that I have one of the lowest loss/casualty rates. So yeah, it does work an absolute treat. Feel free to watch the long video. As I've said, I've already got that on explaining in more detail why it's so damn amazing. Right, Guards VDV is next, and yeah, you all know why this is in here. It is the Mighty Barbarous. Now, sorry, not the... you can have the Mighty Barbarous in here if you wish, but there's better options out there, I'd say. Whatever you do, I don't think it's worth having the 57 on it anymore. Just have it as a good bit of armor with some jump out boys in the back, but we'll talk about that in a second. Look, this deck is, I mean, I know I called the other one the El Clasico, but this is such a classic all-rounder fantastic deck. It works for so many reasons, and one of those is that there really isn't a weak side. That there aren't any. I wouldn't say there's any super strong aspects of it, apart from the armor, but there really aren't any sort of weaknesses. So you don't have you don't have the SSO or the Chorne, for example. You don't have any elite sort of units, again, apart from the Armata and the Barbarous, but everything else is just standard. It works and it's great. I especially love the air tab. Even though you're a bit limited on your points, it still works fantastically well. The Su-34 is the best looking plane in the world, in my opinion. It's just beautiful. Look at that slender little neck. Oof. Almost as beautiful as my wife. No, just kidding. No, I'm not just kidding. Sorry, darling. Right, Su-34, 35 now. Also a great aircraft, the best fighter in the game, especially for its price. 4 long 9K missiles for R-77s at 7 kilometers. This thing's just a machine. It does get the frags up, and you can even have it dirt cheap for 255 points. That's laughable at how cheap that is. But instead, you can do the same with the Su-30, which works exceptionally well as well. So yeah, bear that in mind, that the Su-30 is also a really good, capable fighter. MiG-35, actually quite enjoy using it as a strike craft these days, because it does get its seed and does work pretty well as an all-rounder. But yeah, Su-34 is honestly one of my favorites. And these cabs, which you can self-lace, by the way, decimate tanks quite happily, but also they just do basically exceptionally well in all situations. I thought actually this might be a really good combination. The seed, the 280 GMs, and the 4 bombs. It's kind of a weirdly very nice, strong combination. Anyway, so AirTab is fantastic. You're a bit limited in the numbers and the widespreadness of the capability, but it's great. This is what I mean. This is a very good all-rounder, no weak point kind of deck. Let's talk about the helicopters next. Ka-52 is just a beast. You can, of course, obviously put the 80 gems on it as well. You can fit that into your deck quite happily. But I actually just prefer to use these in a slightly cheaper way. So it's only 40 points difference, to be fair. But if you want to use them in a slightly cheaper capacity, having just the S-13s, which, by the way, comfortably kill a tank on their own. So these are great rockets. They happily take care of tanks. I think it probably takes about 15 rockets to kill a tank. Obviously given some misses as well, so when you have 2 of these, yeah, that's 2-3 tanks that you can take out. Obviously the strongest helicopter in the game, with the 30 armor, 15 health, 25% ECM. It is the strongest helicopter in the game, no doubt about it. Also super cool design with the dual twin rotor blades. It's paired up very nicely. Obviously I have got the Iglas on it as well, just to help keep helis at bay if you go a bit too deep. Woof. Right, Mi-28, it's no secret that these Lemoore missiles are just phenomenal. What you got to do with these is not overextend. That is the only thing you got to do, and you're going to be doing exceptionally well with these healers. I also like the alligator in there just to distract. If you do pair the VDV with the coastal, that's not a bad combo either these days, because obviously you get the seed Catrans, meaning these Mi-28s are virtually impossible to shoot down. You got to keep them moving, keep them right above your SHORAD, in case, you know, enemy helicopters start to swarm you, and you can be in for a very, very, very good time. So yeah, perfect helicopter duo. Buck's being made one shot again. If you didn't know, then here you go. And it means that it's actually really nice to have. When it was 2 shot, I'd use the Buck M3, but the Buck 2 is just fantastic. Get 3 of them in your deck, by the way. Dirivatse, great. Tor, great. Buratino, great. And the cheapest smoke unit in the game, super great. And this actually does make a big difference. Having 3 of these for 40 points, rapid as well, by the way, is a big, big plus. Alright, let's talk about, joke about the Swiss flag. What do I like so much about it? Well, I don't know, but its flag's a big plus. Haha. Moving on. The Armata. We've already talked about the Armata. It's the best tank in game, no shadow of a doubt. It's the most expensive tank in the game, and that's reasonable. You get so many good options. What I like to do is scale it, so you've got the heavy guy, the medium sort of tank, and the light tank. Obviously, when you pair the 3 of these together, it's a really nice combo. Spruts are actually worth their weight in gold, because that is a cheap price to get so much firepower. Obviously, you got to be liberal with your use of the smokes and the spruts because they're fragile, but otherwise great. Terminator as well, with the fact that it's 160 points, and these attackers, which you can fire on the move, by the way, is a really, really, really good tank. Well, is it a tank or is it a BMPT? I don't know. It's a tank. Terminator is great, especially again for that 160 points. It's so cheap. You can use these on the opener and they will absolutely shred quite a lot of vehicles. Actually, as an opener, this is where this does the best by far. Before the enemy has an abundance of javelins, these work just absolutely great. Infantry wise, again, great all-rounders. This has become super popular recently. It's a very, very good RPG team. No question about that. As soon as it gets a little bit panicked though, it does become painfully slow to reload, so that's a bit of a problem. VDV Cornet with the double cornets is great. Szturmoviki are super cheap, great line infantry. Gwardia Motostrelki with the most powerful bazooka in the game, really, really great as well. And the most beautiful part about them is the fact that they get 5 of them. They are weak squad, and they're good all-round line infantry, but a bit expensive for how weak they are. So you are best off using them as a jump out boy. Your transports that you get are good. They're not amazing and they're not that rapid. You're relying on these shitty Kamazas for your rapid transport, which isn't that good. It's actually probably the biggest weakness is your lack of quick mass supply and reinforcements, because relying on these vehicles is fine because you do get a lot of firepower, especially for that price. 35 points for this is just incredible. But yeah, getting supply and reinforcements on mass is very slow unless you use these pretty subpar Kamazas. Now you do get the best manpad in the game, which is the Verba. That's the reason I had the GOU in the mixed setup as well, just because I do love the Verba quite a lot. It is the best manpad in the game, no question there. Spetsnaz is underwhelming, but these Typhoons are great, especially for an early opener. You get these snipers, which are very capable. You get this vehicle, which is a beast. It's lost its 0.25 stealth, but it still works okay. And of course these little buggies, which are rapid and great for deploying your sniper teams, because obviously they can carry 3 people as well. And this really cheap scout thing, absolutely love it. You don't even really need the 4-post in, but I like it to clear out my back lines. So yeah, really, really good deck as well. Like I say, nothing seriously wrong with it. Kamazas are literally the only sort of weak point. Pairs all fantastically, basically everything. No doubt about that in my mind whatsoever. It's just a great all-rounder deck. Barely any weaknesses. And again, if you want a nice early opener with mechanized support, this is absolutely your guy for the job. Use the Terminator all day long. And use these Typhoons too. They're great. Don't know what I changed, but yeah, let's save it. Okay, time to talk about America now. Like I said, this is a quick overview. Long videos are in the description below for about all of these decks. Now, for America, I think you're actually you've got more choice. I should say Russia. This is also a really good combination. Moto Mech, I like it quite a lot. Moto Guards is good, but you're very, very limited in your air support, which is actually, I think, very important in the game. I wouldn't go for this one. You do get a lot of air, but it's probably too much, if anything. And that's pretty much it. With Russia, I think you're pretty much your best 2 decks are these 2, and honestly, just stick with them. You really can't go wrong. This is a good backup, but again, it's a little bit more specialized for some certain things. With America, you can use, I'd say, quite happily. This combination, as I said before, it's a very flanky sort of thing. This is more of a meme, but I just wanted to use the A10s with the, gun only. Works great. Actually, the new rage, the new sort of trend for all of you sports fans out there is, where are the Marines? Let us get this Harrier out. The new trend is to use this gun. Actually, you can even put the ECM on it as well. Okay, fuel tanks. Let's get the harm. Sidearm. And sidearm. 200 points for a gun that does more damage per second than the A10's minigun for 200 points, and you get 2 seeds with it. So what a crazy bit of kit. And also, to be honest, just do this for the sake of 40 points. Why the hell not? I mean, it's a one-way trip, but it's going to be an enjoyable one-way trip, that's for sure. So yeah, latest craze. Check it out, guys. Cool. Let's talk about the two best, most effective American decks that I think there are in the game. Don't get me wrong. Like I say, I think this is also a fantastic combination. Marine Striker Special Forces is also fantastic. Again, lacking in the armor tab, but they're all very situational. I had this for the PT, but that's for the old PT, but that's gone. Let's talk about this one with the Armored Special Forces. Again, I think this is just a classic. It's really hard to go wrong with this combo. It covers all the bases. The only thing that is lost from the glory days is the Pack 2, which got moved to the Marines for some bizarre reason. So this gets the Pack 3 now. And essentially what you've got is fantastic recon, even though I'm not actually making the absolute most of it. It's because I've got like other considerations in this deck is probably the best way to put it. With the green berets, I don't think it's worth taking them basically ever. With the flash, they're just too expensive for what they can do. Remember, it's a 4-man squad in a day. Pararescue is fine, and I know a lot of people like the special tactics team, but I don't think it's worth it, especially not for 100 points. That's way too expensive for what it can do. Ranger Stingers are absolutely fine for 80. Do basically the same job. So yeah, anyway, you've got a good mix of expensive and cheap line infantry. Very effective. You've got your anti-tank, you've got your anti-infantry, and your anti-helicopter needs all covered very nicely. RC is one of the most goated units in the America. Honestly, I think it's rude not to use them. That's why I love the Special Forces, actually, is these more than anything. So yeah, Sentinel's great and all that, but look, I absolutely love the RC. You've obviously got your Silent Hawks. These are, if you don't put the camouflage on them, they don't have 2.5 stealth for drops. Did you know that? AMPV is really good, especially for the price. 110 points is more than enough to justify it. You don't need to make it really expensive. Just be more careful with the use of smokes. And remember that if you jump a squad out to use the smoke, then it'll recharge it in a heartbeat. The smoke gets recharged in a split second. So jump the squad out, smoke out, jump the squad back in. Works a dream. Again, these are great for anti-infantry stuff. The tanks themselves are just fantastic. Obviously, American tanks are, on average, stronger, just because of the better cannons that they get. So I actually really enjoy using the Set V2 and just the Tusk. Again, it requires you to have a lot more micro with your smoke, but if you've got the capacity to do that, then this is the better way to go. You can obviously go for the APS, but it becomes a bit too expensive for my liking. So yeah, it is a trade-off, but I am quite happy that I can back myself that when I use these, I will just be very shit hot on smoke, because it allows you to get more tanks out. And more tanks is more firepower, which is more destruction against the enemy. But obviously, keep a good close eye on your smokes. As soon as you're out of smoke, as soon as you use that last one, just return. Return, recharge, keep these tanks cycling through. They work absolutely great. The argument I also have is when you have APS, the Russians usually fire 2 sets of ATGMs at you at all times. So even if your first APS stops it, the second one won't, so you're taking that hit. So I think you're going to use the smoke anyway. Just be a bit more proactive with it and baby these tanks when they're on the field more. I also use this one as the opener tank, just because 215 points, again, dirt cheap. Why not use it? It throws a spanner into the enemy works, and they're probably not expecting it, so win-win-win. Also, quite a good gun. As you can see, this cheap tank is better than the Russian medium tanks in terms of penetration stats, which is kind of crazy. Pack 3 is fine. Sure Red is good. PVADs in front of you. Pack 3 is a must, but it's very cheap, so it's absolutely worth it. And you get the only arty in the game that can guarantee a 2-shot kill against any tank. No other arty, apart from the Tulpan, which is a mortar, so it's a bit different, but whatever. No other arty can guarantee this, and that's because the Copperhead has got 600 penetration. All the other arty is 75, so this is now the cheapest, most effective arty in the game. It is an absolute meta, and you should be using it if you're using the armoured. Oh, I forgot to mention Cav Scouts. I absolutely love them for their javelins. They're great. Stealthy. Put a War Pig behind them, and they're going to be nicely supplied. And put the Bunker Bust on the War Pig just to make it a little bit more effective. It's great. It really does the trick. So yeah, great vehicle to have. With the SF, you of course get the the Guardian, the Apache with the Guardian spec. I like to keep it as cheap as possible, and it's fire and forget. Don't forget that it's fire and forget. So obviously with the special force, just fire this missile, go low behind a building. The missile will track, no problems. Go back up, fire, go low. You're not going to lose this if you play it smart like that. You don't have to, you do have to put the cheap rockets on. Definitely don't go for the most expensive ones. You shouldn't be firing all 16 of this. You want to be nice and far back. You've got the Comanche, again, a beautiful thing that you can just sneak into the back lines, keep it nice and cheap, and you're going to trade well. You can make it more expensive by all means. It's best to have a combo, I think, just to increase that fire rate. You can by all means put, start putting Hellfires on it. It just becomes ever so increasingly harder to trade super effectively with this bad boy. Right, this is my anti-helicopter helicopter. I'm not actually primarily going to use this for that at all. That is all it is. And the killer eggs, either a bullet magnet or shield for my Apache, because the shore rider will automatically target the thing that's in front. And if I lose this, it's 35 points. I don't give a toss, mate. And if you can put this in just flanky positions where there's no igglers or whatever, then they do trade extremely well, especially for 35 points. If you can put this in the enemy's heli spawn, then goodbye enemy helicopters. Again, for 35 points, great trade. Osprey obviously super quick and lovely to get in the battlefield. Air type, you are actually slightly limited with the amount that you can bring, but these are fantastic bits of kit. Raptor, I love having the Stormbreakers on it just because you've got quite a good amount of recon, so 2 per target, and it's just good for those snap opportunity targets. F-35 JDAMs, yeah, they one-shot every single tank in the game apart from the Armata. So when it's the Armata, then you have to drop 2 of these, or Barbarous for that matter. Then you have to drop 2 of these onto the target, otherwise any other tank gets 1. So all you got to do is kill 1 tank and you've broken even, pretty much. So if you drop this on any tank, apart from the Armata Barbarous, you're going to be close to breaking even, and the second bomb on an easy bit of infantry or backline target, you're going to make a profit every time. So that's why I love the F-35s so much. If it comes back out of ammo, it's only a 6-minute regen time. That's pretty good, and they're very survivable. Yeah, very, very survivable. Yeah, why the fuck not? Just put a spooky in, it's good banter. Great, okay, so this is a great deck. Ranger Sniper as well, 84 for 10 points. Wow, amazing. And a much better sniper that actually does give you quite a lot of damage. It really helps out. So yeah, really, really great combo of a deck right there. Let's move on. Yeah, let's save it, whatever. Marine Airborne. Now, this is another one of those decks that just struggles to do badly, which is a really, really nice thing. It's got so much going for it. It's just a fantastic deck. Again, so much going for it. It's hard to go wrong. What you've got is a really nice combination of what the problem with the American units, and actually I should talk about this here, is the fact that you do have a lot of expensive stuff, like RC is 80 points for such a small squad. This is the only cheap squad really that you've got. Armor, fairly priced. Shore ride, fairly priced. Not the most effective shore ride at all, by the way. Helicopters, fairly priced, I think, and aircraft a little bit expensive, but they're obviously absolutely worth it. So either way, you do have more expensive units, even if they're more effective, so you're going to struggle with Russian spam. Now, what doesn't struggle with Russian spam is this anti-spam fest deck, but again, that's just a separate video, because the Baltics do have some really good dirt cheap line infantry, especially with the Vilka squad right there. Anyway, Marine Airborne, this is one of those where, again, you do have quite a lot of expensive stuff, but also quite a lot of cheap stuff to balance it out. So it does become a really, really nice sort of trade-off. And again, the most effective shore ride in the game is the Slam Ram. No doubts about that, just because of the terminal guidance on this. I've seen this miss a helicopter, divert, hit the one behind it that's out of range originally, and one-shot it, which is, yeah, crazy. Alright, let's have a good look. So Airborne Recce, you should 100% be using these guys now. I mean, 55 points for a Moors is an absolute steal. It just works exceptionally well. The sniper is just good for it. Just let it ping. You get a laser as well, which is just brilliant. Falcon, great little cheap CQB recon unit, really nice, good to be used. Global Hawk, everyone knows the Global Hawk, and IFA Veto, that's just to get a sniper squad, nice, yeah, just to get it up in there. And if you do manage to get one of these through into the back line, and it just one-shots a bit of Russian support, that makes it worth it every day of the week. 55 points trades extremely well. These are ISVs, fantastic for trying to get into the back line. You actually can just spam lots of Mark 19s on them. Works not too bad. Yeah, and you've got the cheapest snipers in the game, so that's why I like this as well. Infantry is just solid. Like, there's no going wrong with this line infantry, especially in next generation support weapons. They're fantastic. Like, it is one of the best line infantries. I wouldn't say for it's expensive, but yeah. Marskaya, I think, is Marskaya Piechota is probably the best line infantry, especially for its price, but this is just great too. Sting is Assault Men. Yeah, everyone loves to play with the Assault Men and hates to play against them. ACV, lots of boots on the ground in a nice protected capsule with a Mark 19 and some smoke as well. Here's a cheap little combo, so the toes supplement the weapon squad. They work nicely in tandem, especially because you get one cheap one and two fairly expensive javelins. Yep, no questions about these guys. I hope they work exceptionally well, especially together. Tanks, still very good. The FEP is great. I love the ECM on it. It works a treat. It really does. You still need smoke, of course, but the ECM is the first missile of any ATGM of the semi-active style. Or actually, I don't know how often the 30% sort of ECM resets. It is meant to be on paper. On paper, it's meant to be that 30% of all ATGMs miss, but the first one is guaranteed to miss, and the second one is pretty much guaranteed to hit. So it's sort of like just gets the first missile, get out of jail free card for that. Great tank, great firepower, great armor, great all-rounder. Not much else to say. It's a very good bit of kit. The most powerful tank gun in the game, which is also on the SEP V3, is also on the Thunderbolt. Now, the Thunderbolt is paper thin. Obviously, you want it nice and far back, well protected. I thought I'd go for the improved armor as opposed to the APS. APS is great too, don't get me wrong. But again, the smoke is, again, something that you should just micro hard and gives you a tiny bit more survivability against direct fire, RPGs, etc. Sheridan, absolutely beautiful vehicle, can't get enough of this, and the reason for that is just because of the HE round. It does so much damage. This can one-shot light vehicles quite happily, but it is just such a good fire support for your infantry. The ATGM for an extra 5 points for a Sheila missile is absolutely worth it all day long. It's very good. Tow, again, just to keep harassing infantry really more than anything. Very cheap, very worth it. Pack 2, we've got 2 Pack 2s, really good. Now, the reason I put M240s in is because I don't want a pilot to kill this, and pilots can kill this if it's unarmed, which is kind of crazy, isn't it? But, very easy for a pilot to do. So just stick a machine gun for the 5 points, and that will prevent you, for the sake of 5 points, that'll prevent you from being pissed off when a pilot kills your pack. Obviously, it happens rarely, and for some reason pilots aren't ejecting these days, so arguably pointless, but it's some sort of bug. I don't know what it is, but usually just put the M240 on it. Lav, yeah, Lav is great. Slam Ram's even better. You got to have the Lav sort of with any moves, just because obviously it's got smoke and it's you can fire whilst moving, whereas this obviously has to stay stationary. So got to have smoke in your deck. Here we go. There's my smoke. MTVR is fantastic, and the Cat Fey. Everybody knows that the Cat Fey is absolutely beautiful. I don't bother with the Brutuses. Now, you can put 2 of these instead of the Cat Fey, but Cat Fey is just unreal. It does such a great job, and the Brutus is just, it doesn't 2-shot tanks anymore. So what is the point of 18 shells of laser guided? It really doesn't do that much. One of the favorite things about this deck is how dirt cheap the helis are. So Apache with 4 Hellfires is, for 165 points, is unreal. This trades so exceptionally well, incredibly well. I honestly can't recommend this enough, especially when you pair it with dirt cheap helicopters of the Super Cobra, which has sidewinders, which on an opener just shred even. 2 of these will shred a plane if a plane's trying to strafe 2 of these helicopters. And sidearms, again, just a really nice cheap 155 points, and you get these 3 helicopters for dirt cheap. Very, very powerful, very difficult to deal with. Car is actually just my recon laser, and you get your transports. Now the Chinook, the only reason the Chinook is in here is because you can airlift a slam ram, stick it in the back of the Chinook, drop it off at the back line. That you don't have space for the supply, because that's it. Maybe you can bring an Osprey for the supply part, and that's it. Just drop this into the back line from a Chinook. Don't know how it fits physically, because it's probably a bit too tall to get into the back of a Chinook ramps. I don't know if, obviously, if you're serving, you've probably seen one of these, but they are actually crammed. Look how crammed just 2 men is in there, so you can barely get Humvees in there. It's just way too crammed in there. Can you even get Humvees? I don't know, it's American, but you can get, like, little quad bikes and stuff, obviously for the medical guys. But that's it, you really can't fit much in there. It's a very tight little face. Planes, right. What a great plane combination, right? Lancer, I actually really like these 24 cruise missiles. They can't stop them all. You can obviously put a nuke for an extra 100 points if you wish, but the plane will get shot down. Whereas 24 cruise missiles, I don't know, about 12 of them will probably get through if the enemy's good. Just because more often than not, the enemy runs out of AA missiles before intercepting them all, because you get so many. And obviously, once you RTB this thing, 14 minutes resupply, it's really not that bad. You obviously get a big refund as well for even when it's out of ammo. Hornet, great afterburners, a bit situational, but works great if you've got, you know, a big push across the enemy field. Afterburn it in, bang, 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 happy days. Here's the Harrier with the fighter configuration, making it a really great fighter, especially super well trading. You should put the gun on it, because the gun is great for dealing with helicopters as well. This one strafe run will kill a helicopter, no doubt about that. Sex Eagle, yeah, you know all about this. I thought I'd put a Paradrop plane in just for bands, haven't really used it yet. And of course you get the cheapest seed in the game for 4 missiles. So yeah, a really, really great all-rounder deck as well. Strengths-wise, a bit of everything. Weakness-wise, just a slightly expensive line infantry, but it does trade well, again, especially when you have multiple squads of these next-gen. I am actually not sure that this deck has any real weaknesses. It's just a great all-rounder, really great all-rounder. It doesn't have any... No, it does have really good strengths. It has super cheap helicopters and really great air. And really great armor as well, especially these two. Could have a bit more, and I could jig the dagger around to do this, but yeah, you've got cheap stuff like this as well. I don't know, maybe there aren't any weaknesses really. It is just a fantastic deck. Cool. We've done the honorable mentions. All of these events all of these decks I have for special events that I host on my Discord, so don't worry about these. They're not real decks. They're just for events like, yeah, infantry war, as you can see, no vehicles or anything like that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Don't get me wrong, there are other combinations that more experienced players can use, but I'm just telling you the ones that are really foolproof more than anything. And that's exactly what these things are. They're just absolute foolproof, good, reliable, fantastic decks for all of you to enjoy and use. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please do leave me a like, a comment, and a subscribe, of course. I appreciate you watching. Take care, all the best. Bye-bye. Do you have really slow internet? Well, I used to, and it was really painful, especially when uploading videos, but I've just recently got Starlink, and it's actually really, really good. Can highly recommend it. Here's the speeds, you can see the comparison. And if you want a free month, and you give me a free month as well, then yeah, click on my description, link in the description below. Cheers.